Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel for another Super Saturday here. We're at the beautiful Spa-Francorchamps for round 2 of the GT3 Super League Elite here tonight. Should be some phenomenal racing, obviously some lots and lots of overtaking spots as well as some iconic turns around this circuit. It's one of my favourites and can't wait for the action to get underway. Obviously, we had an interesting race last week, a bit of controversy, which we are no strangers to here in the GT3 League, especially the two old foes, Thorsten and Sebas once again, been at it. And over the past week, actually, unfortunately, I've got a little bit of sad news. Thorsten is unable to join us for this week. He is actually otherwise engaged. Teammates will be out on track tonight. Chris, Bugbar, and Evan, I believe, is on his way as well. So we should have some good action out on track for you guys tonight. Only watching Sebastefano drive the 666 Lamborghini livery. It's the end of what I think is his first outlap of the session. Getting looking to explore the track limits here on his opening run. We know that a lot of guys on this track do have plenty of pace. We're just waiting to see the benchmarks are. I'm expecting to see lap times in around the 2-minute 17 type of range, but we won't know until they actually start coming in thick and fast. We're going to watch Sebastefano as he comes over to start his opening lap session here. So Gentlemen, we're back on for this qualifying session. Currently, top of the leaderboard, we got Seuss doing a fantastic time there in the 488, putting it top with a 2-minute 19.5 at the moment. He's got a 3/10 of a second gap back to the next driver, who is Seba Stefano, currently flying the flag for the Stefanos tonight. Stefano the older, showing his son the way around this circuit. We've seen these two both racing around this circuit before, but not in these cars. That was in the GTEs a couple of seasons ago. We had the round 2 of the GTEs at this very circuit in our first season here at Motive Racing. It's the first time we come back since then, I believe. We've been pretty much around the world in terms of circuits, but it's a long time since we've raced Spa, but great to be back here this evening as we see Seba Stefano getting a little bit wide there coming through Blanchimont. Looks like he's trying to get his tyres up to temperature as he comes up towards the bus stop chicane. We're going to flick to D-Crocs and see what he's doing. He's just coming through the source, just about to start another flying lap. Ayrton Stefano currently sat P4 at the moment in this session. Looks like he has got some traffic in front of him and he's definitely been held up there. It looks like he would have lost a lot of time behind. I believe that was DJ Phil there that Ayrton Stefano was stuck behind. So Ayrton Stefano weren't thanking for that. DJ Phil though looked like he was on a flying lap, so that's fair enough. He's got a 488, another Ferrari right behind him here, so he's going to have to watch out for these guys who are on flying laps. DJ Phil there, one of our regulars here at Motive Racing, always supports our streams, always chiming in, saying hello, and is one of our biggest fans here. Great to have him out on the track here tonight in the elite tier for the GT3s. Great to see him sporting the Merc AMG tonight. Looks like he's backing off a little bit to try and get track position, and somebody's gone very wide there onto the gravel. Well, that looks like it was just Jose there. Looks like he's managed to get it going once again, but he's looking to lost a lot of time there as he exits turn 16. He's going to get the chance to do maybe 1 or 2 more runs here in this session. Currently watching the provisional pole sitter here, Susi. Looks like he's got a 3/10 of a second gap back to Seba Stefano in the qualifying session at the moment. He's just coming through the first sector now. Seba's actually just behind him on the track, so could get interesting if Seuss does make a mistake on his lap and backs off. He will want. Oh no, it doesn't look like Sebas has actually backed off there, so he's allowed Ugbar, I think that is, to go past. No, Ugbar's the car behind him. I think it might be Chris. He's just ahead of him. Yes, it is indeed. Chris and Ugbar both sporting the same livery. There's Chris Pissock. And there is Ugbar. So these guys working as teammates, both members of the Borchardt Sim Racing team. Obviously the leader, Thorsten Borchardt, not present this week, is Evan, another member of the team. Looks like he's just coming through Eau Rouge now. Currently sat P10 in this session, 4 seconds off of the pace. I'm sure there's going to be more to come from Evan as this session continues. But still the order as he were. Seuss currently sat on provisional pole position. Seba Stefano sat in P2. We've got D-Crocs, who's just coming through out of Blanchimont now and up towards the bus stop chicane. Let's see if D-Crocs can go a little bit quicker here. Hard on the brakes. Got to be very careful to avoid that curve on the inside. It can ping you off, and on the exit as well. But D-Crocs looks very tidy and off and out of the last corner, keeping it off a little bit off the curbs there on the right hand side and up and over the line. D-Crocs comes over and stays P3. Can't improve for the time being. Still 4/10 of a second off of the pole time as it stands. Ayrton Stefano coming through turn 15. Stavolo looks pretty tidy at the moment. Driving the Lamborghini, the multicoloured livery here. Approach to the corner and almost getting a little bit wide on the exit there, managing to just about control it here into the bus stop. Rise a little bit of the curve on the left hand side, trying to maximise the entry speed, and a little bit on 2 wheels there on the exit, but he manages to keep it going. As you can see there, he was really wrestling tyres through the last corner and comes over the line, and Ayrton Stefano puts it on pole position. First man into the 2-minute 18s here in this session. What a lap there, really brought it out of the bag. He's going to get one more chance to try and improve his time. Seuss has pitted from second place. He doesn't think he can go any faster. Sebastefano's out there trying to warm up his tyres. He's going to have one more run after this one. He's going to try and get his tyres in absolute optimal range for one last attempt. D-Crocs currently sat 1.1 seconds off the pace. Beartooth disease sat P5. He's not going to get around in time to another heat here in this session. What a lap there. Really brought it out of the bag. He's going to get one more chance to try and improve his time. Seuss has pitted 0.9 seconds to try and make up on the current provisional policy to Ayrton. It looks like Timonovski is just coming through the final sector now. Let's see what Timonovski can do. Currently 7th place here in this session. Driving the 488, driving the Blancpain livery here. Looks pretty tidy through Blanchimel. But Timonovski obviously joined us last season midway through in the Tier 1, impressed us to hell later on in the season. It got improved every race, got better and better and better. Let's see what he can do here at Spa, coming out of the last corner now. Currently 7th in this session. Can he move up the order? It looks like he can. Great lap there from Timonovski, up into 5th place within 2 seconds now of the provisional pole man. Looks like he's going to get another chance, but he's gone very, very wide there, coming out of La Source, and that's surely going to be that lap done and dusted. Ugbar's out on the lap time at the moment, just coming up towards the final sector now. The Flying Dutchman and LMP2 lead coordinator here, Al Motive Racing's Discord. Let's see what he can do here in the latter stages of this session. Also keeping an eye on these guys, D-Crocs, Sevas, Timonovski, Ayrton Stefano currently still on another lap. What's Ugbar going to do here? Coming out of the bus stop. Our Flying Dutchman is currently sat 8th place in this session. Let's see if he can try and boost himself up the order. Comes over the line and he moves up to P7. Displaces Chris Pissock. Chris Pissock pits from 8th place. We've got just Jose Traven, a late stand-in for this race. Manages to put himself up into 9th. Good showing there at late notice for him. We've got Drummer currently sat 11th place in this session. Evan is coming around the last sector now. Let's see if he can move himself up. Our Irishman currently sat 12th here in the qualifying standings thus far. Evan comes into the bus stop looking, he's gone a little bit deep there and he's going to compromise him on his run out of the corner. Let's see what he can do regardless as he comes up towards the line. Evan currently sat P12 in this session. Can he get himself into the top 10? He can't, unfortunately. Evan stays P12. It looks like that is a wrap for this session, unless Sebastefano can do anything here. Trying to wring the neck of this car if he can. Takes a wide entry coming into the bus stop. Looks like a little bit of lag there as he came to the mid part of the corner, but it looks like he's pretty tidy on the run out. Sebastefano driving the 666 Lamborghini livery here, red and black, and he comes over the line now. What can he do? He looks like he moves up to P3. Very nice lap there from Sebas. Puts himself above D-Crocs. So D-Crocs is going to start 4th. It looks like Ayrton Stefano and Seuss are going to line up on the front row here for round 2 of Motive Racing's GT3 Super League Elite tier here at Spa-Francorchamps. We got Sebas. Oh, controller's disconnected. Apologies for that. You wouldn't have seen that because G's running the stream. But Sebastefano, D-Crocs currently sat on the 2nd row. We got Timonovski and Beartooth, Ugbar, Chris Pissock, Traven and Drummer completing the top 10. Just Jose, Evan a disappointing qualifying for him. We got Boostin and DJ Phil is going to be rounding out the field for this one. Guys, if you haven't already, please slap a like on this video and subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. We have got wet conditions for this sprint race, which is up next. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are moments away from the start of the sprint race for Motive Racing's GT3 Super League Elite Tier here at Spa. If you guys enjoy what you see currently on the channel, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and join us on Discord if you want to get involved in the on-track action that you see in front of you at this very moment. Looks like we are moments away here, and it looks like everyone's just about readied up in time for the start of the race. Ayrton Stefano on pole, Seuss alongside him, Seba Stefano, D-Crox behind those guys. Timonovsky and Beartooth will be looking to get up the line. Absolutely brilliant here at the start. And it looks like we are underway. And it's a good start there from Seuss there on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see him looking to the outside here, coming into the source. It looks like we've got Timonovsky also looking to the inside here. Very late on the brakes. Timonovsky's up the inside of Seba Stefano up into third place. But Stefano managing to hold on to pole position here, coming out of turn one. Looks like somebody's gone a little bit wide there on the exit. Still source, but it looks like it's all good for the time being. We've got Timonovsky making a fantastic start there. Went up the inside of Seba Stefano coming into the source, and it looks like he's held on to third place here. Seba Stefano trying to fend off D-Crox in fourth and fifth. Looks like Beartooth's lost the position. Ogbar's made a good start up into seventh place, but he goes a little bit wide there coming through El Rouge, and looks like we're pretty clean at the moment. In fact, everybody's got through El Rouge unscathed. That's absolutely fantastic start there, and good to see everybody keeping it within the track limits as well. Evan up to 11th place from 12th on the grid. It looks like Boostin lost the position, and we're seeing side by side here in the background. It looks like that is Drummer there going up the inside. No, it's actually Chris. No, it's Drummer trying to come up the inside of Chris Pissick, and Chris Pissick's gone a little bit wide there over the sleeping policeman. Looks like he's held it together though, luckily. And Drummer's making a great start here, up into 9th place from 11th on the grid. Great job there from Drummer. Just Jose currently running up behind Ugbar. Let's see if he can make a move here on the Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman has gone very, very wide there, and just Jose's going to look to the inside. Can he hold it around the outside? It looks like actually Ugbar's managed to keep the position. He's keeping it on the inside there, and Ugbar's going to keep that onto that 7th place. He's right behind Beartooth as well. These guys are in a big train actually. You can see here the battle for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. That is Ayrton Stefano at the head of that. He's managed to break away a little bit, but the battle for second. Very, very hot here. You can see Seuss is trying to fend off Timonovsky, Sebas, and D-Crox. These guys are in very, very close quarters in the early laps of this race. And it does look like Timonovsky's actually dropped a little bit off of Seuss. He's just right on board with Sebas and see what he's seeing as he's trying to get around Timonovsky if he can, but Timonovsky doing a great job of putting his car in all the right places and not allowing any gaps to form. You can see Sebas has got a nice run here though, coming in towards the final sector of the lap, and Timonovsky's definitely going to have to work hard if he wants to keep him behind him. You can see there, just parking his car on the inside and not giving Sebas a chance to find a way through at the moment. Timonovsky going a little bit wide there, coming through Baltimore. And is Sebas going to look to the inside, coming into the bus stop? You can see there's a gap there, which Timonovsky did leave, and Sebas did think about going for it, but in the end had to slam on the brakes as they got closer to the apex. For the time being, Timonovsky is holding him off, going very, very defensive here. He's definitely covering any eventualities that Sebas might try and exploit as they come into La Source. And Sebas has also got D-Crox right behind him as well. So Seba Stefano is going to want to get on with this, with Timonovsky definitely holding him up in the early stages of this race. These guys dropping off the leaders. Ayrton has pulled out a 3-second gap at the front at the moment. Ayrton Stefano absolutely flying as we see him cutting El Rouge there. That was definitely not the best route through there, but he was losing a lot of time, so he did obviously try to make the corner. He lost 0.4 of a second to the man in second place, who is Seuss at the moment. Timonovsky sat third in this one. He's still trying to fend off Seba Stefano. Seba Stefano looks to the inside here, coming into the boom, but he's a little bit too far back to go for a move. D-Crox sat P5, Beartooth in 6th. We've got Evan, just Jose running in 8th place at the moment. Chris Pissick is in 9th. You've got Drummer just behind him, and Boostin in 11th place at the moment. And it's a long, long way back to the Flying Dutchman, who's had a turbulent start to this race. We saw him making a few positions on the opening lap, but it's all gone horribly wrong for him in this. At some point, didn't catch that on the stream there. We've got DJ Phil sat 13th, and Traven, unfortunately, not having a great race. A late stand-in for this one. Probably didn't get the practice that he would have needed. And obviously the wet conditions are definitely going to catch you out if you haven't prepared for them. These guys that you see out on the track have had all week to prepare for this. Unfortunately, Traven was a little bit last minute. Just invited him along because he is on our reserve list. And unfortunately just didn't really have the preparation tonight. Currently got Seuss in second place, 1.8 seconds off with the leader, Ayrton Stefano. We've got a battle still going on here, still raging on at the moment. Timonovsky trying to fend off Seba Stefano if he can. Sebas is looking very, very hot on his heels indeed here. as they come out of turn 16. Once again, Sebas now very, very close in the slipstream. It's going to be difficult for him to see where he's going at the moment because he's got the spray from Timanowski all over his face here. Timanowski in the 53 Ferrari 488 livery. And it looks like Sebas has had a bit of a moment. He's got D-Crocs looking to the inside here as they come up towards Blanchimont. He's going to have to leave him the space. D-Crocs looks to the inside, dives up the inside, and he's up into fourth place here. It looks like he went a little bit wide though on the exit. He may get a slowdown warning for that from the race director as they come into the bus stop now. D-Crocs doing an excellent job of moving himself up a position. Next up for him will be Timanowski, but I'm sure that Sebas Stefano is going to want to fight back, and that is just a result of Sebas getting too held up there behind Timanowski. Ultimately not able to make the move quick enough, and he's lost the position there to our man who's now in third place, Timanowski. Looks like last lap was actually pretty close between Ayrton Stefano and Seuss, just a tenth of a second separating them on their previous lap times. Ayrton has got a 3-second gap. It's pretty much down to Ayrton's start. That's what's given him this buffer at the moment. He got a perfect start at the beginning of the first lap and ended up, I think he was leading the race by about 2.5 seconds at the end of lap 1, which was incredibly impressive. Just got those tyres immediately up to temperature, knew what he was doing, knew where he wanted to go, and he's got the results to show for it at the moment. Ayrton Stefano came close to taking the championship last season and managed to take it down to the wire at Bathurst. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan in the finale, and he did end up losing the title to Thorsten Borchardt, who's unfortunately not with us tonight. So Ayrton Stefano will be aware of the absence of Thorsten and the potential for him to gain plenty of points on last season's champion here tonight. So he will be absolutely gunning to make sure that he makes the most of this opportunity and he doesn't let it go to waste. As we see here, it looks like D-Crocs is now trying to fend off Sebas. The tables have turned in this battle. And what's happened to Timanowski? Oh no, Timanowski's dropped way back. He's down in 10th place. That is absolutely gutting there for Timanowski. He was running in a podium spot just a few moments ago. We missed that on the stream, didn't see what happened to him. But Timanowski now down to 10th position, 20 seconds off of the race lead. That is a real shame there. He was running in a great race for the opening couple of laps. He's now got boosting just a second behind him out on the track. Looks like Chris Pissock has managed to get up into 7th. And looks like Bertus is limping here, coming through the middle sector. Didn't see what happened there. He's just coming out of Pouhon, in between Pouhon and Campus. It looks like he's lost a bit of time here. He's now got Drummer for company here. Drummer looking like he's trying to close that gap to Beartooth at the moment. And Beartooth is going very wide there, coming through Stavolo. Surely Drummer's going to fancy his chances. Let's ride on board with Drummer and see what he's seeing as he tries to navigate these conditions. You can see here the spray coming off of that car in front of him. Must be absolutely treacherous. It's a lot of hard work for Drummer to try and keep this car on the track at the moment, especially with the dirty air and the spraying in his face. It must be so difficult for him to try and keep his bearings intact at the moment. As we see him go a little bit wide there, coming through Blanchimont, and now coming up towards the bus stop chicane. Looks like he's lost a bit of time to Beartooth. These guys are closing in though on the pack ahead of them. You can see Evan, Chris Pissock, just Jose, just ahead of those guys. It looks like Beartooth definitely trying to gain some momentum after that slightly shabby moment there. Have a look back at the battle here for third place. D-Crocs just ahead of Sebas Stefano, but really nothing at all separating these guys on the track. Just a quick, as we see, it looks like D-Croc's a little bit shaky coming through El Rouge. Now Sebas is going to surely fancy his chances as they come through Radion now and up the Kemmel Straight. You can see here D-Crocs is going very, very defensive here to the inside line, and Sebas is going to have to maybe make it go around him if he wants to get this done. Into Lacombe, it looks like D-Crocs for the time being managing to hold on to the position though. Good racing there from these guys so far. Drummer at the moment sat 8th place. Looks like he's trying to fend off Beartooth. So Drummer's actually got past Beartooth here. Missed that on the stream, but Drummer is up into 8th place here in this race. Good stuff there from him. Next up for him will be just Jose. Beartooth trying to fend off Timanowski. These two have both had calamities so far in this race. Timanowski, a couple of laps ago, was running in P3 at the time. Beartooth we saw coming out of Pouhon just a lap ago, dropping lots and lots of places. So these guys both can probably relate to each other on the races that they've had so far in the first half of this sprint race here for round 2 of Motive Racing's GT3 Super League here at Spa-Francorchamps. This is the elite tier, guys. These are the best GT3 races on the PlayStation 4 platform here on Project Cars 2, and they're currently putting on a great show here in the wet conditions here at Spa. Beartooth still trying to fend off Timonovski if he can, as he goes a little bit wide here, coming through Pouron, and now surely Timonovski's going to fancy his chances, but Timonovski a little bit too far back to go for a move there. It looks like he made a mistake at the previous corner, which definitely was a bit of a blessing there for Beartooth. Ultimately, Beartooth managing to keep onto position for the time being. Back to the battle for P3, still D-Crocs managing to hold off Sebastefano. These guys within a second of each other at the moment, coming through this flat out in the dry, probably not in the wet. I would say it's a slight lift through Blanchimont in these types of conditions. Still D-Crocs holding on, both of the guys abusing the track limits there on the exit. And you see here Sebas using all of the track, almost on, in fact he was on the white line there on the outside of the track. That is a very, very risky move in these types of conditions, but you see here maximising his exit out of the last corner, and now they're going to try and go side by side here. Looks like D-Crocs trying to minimise the space on the inside, but Sebas is definitely alongside here. D-Crocs is going to have to give him the space in the braking zone, and he does move to the outside here and allows Sebas to go for the move, but is he going to try and undercut him here on the exit? It looks like Sebas has got it done, but D-Crocs executing the undercut to perfection there. This young man here, D-Crocs, really was, I would say, I mean, I was gonna use a word there that some people might use to describe what he just did to Sebas, but I probably shouldn't say it. But you can see here, D-Crocs still trying to fend him off, coming through Eau Rouge. Now Sebas is going to surely try and fancy his chances here, coming down the Camel Straight. He's going to look to the outside. D-Crocs going very, very defensive here, coming to Lacoum, and D-Crocs for the time being holding onto the position. But Sebas is going to be wanting to get that position as soon as he can. But that was a truly fantastic bit of anticipation there from D-Crocs. Saw Sebas coming, allowed him to go for the dive up the inside, and then well and truly, I'm just going to say the word because it's on my mind now, he well and truly suckered him out of the corner and left him for dead on the exit. Truly great driving here from D-Crocs, as we see Sebas looking to the left, but he can't make the move on him for the time being. Looks like D-Crocs doing a great job as now that was a little bit naughty there from D-Crocs, definitely cut him up. And Sebas is not going to appreciate that one bit. But it has been very, very hard racing. I'd say within the realms of fair, maybe just about. But it's definitely naughty. It's the type of thing that gets your reputation in sim racing, or indeed in real racing as well. But D-Crocs here pushing the limits of what's legal out on the track tonight. But doing a great job here of managing to keep Sebas behind him for the time being. We'll keep an eye on this battle as it unfolds. We're currently watching Chris Bissock here, sat in 6th place. It looks like he's managed to make some gains here in this race. Evan has done an excellent job here. He was way down the order at the start of the race, but he's managed to get himself up into P5 here. The Irishman is definitely enjoying these conditions here in this sprint race tonight, driving the Merc AMG. Currently the highest runner of the Borchardt Sim Racing team here in this race at the moment. So flying the flag for Thorsten. Thorsten, if you're watching us tonight, be sure to give us a shout here in the comment section if you are watching. But Thorsten is the leader of Borchardt Sim Racing here for this one, and it looks like Evan is doing a good job here in P5 at the moment. Have a look back and see what's going on with Jose. Looks like he's maybe closing in a little bit on Chris Bissock. Chris Bissock last time around was half a second slower than him, so Jose, I'm sure, will be wanting to try and get that deficit down as much as he can. As we see a little bit of a twitch there from Drummer coming out of last source, and he's now been passed on the inside by Timonovski. Timonovski up into 8th place. Timonovski had an amazing start to this race, but it's not been the easiest of races for him. Had a calamity on lap 3 of the race, dropped him way back down the order. He dropped from 3rd to 10th in the space of a lap. But trying to limit the damage from that earlier blemish, he's up into 8th. Drummer down to 9th. Beartooth currently running in 10th after we saw him having a moment coming through the middle sector. Drummer looks to the inside here, off Timonovski coming into Lacoum. Can he make it stick? He thinks about it and then has to back out of it at the last minute. Timonovski managing to cling on to 8th place by the skin of his teeth, but Drummer is really, really hassling him here. As we come up through turn 9, down the hill towards turn 10, and it looks like still Timonovski managing to hold on to that position just about here. And Sebas has got ahead of D-Crocs here for 3rd place. Didn't catch that on the stream, but he has made the move at some point in that first sector here on lap 6 of this race. Sebas now in a podium spot, 10 seconds behind his son, who is currently leading the race and lapping 4 seconds faster than the man in P2. This man, Ayrton Stefano, with wet weather skills akin to Ayrton Senna here. 5 minutes left to go in this session. He's got a 3-second gap to Seuss in second place. But Ayrton Stefano, class of the field so far in this sprint race. Will remains to be seen whether or not he can keep up this sort of skill in the dry conditions coming up in the feature race, but certainly in the challenging torrential weather here in the Ardennes countryside, he has definitely got the measure of everybody else out on track tonight. Chris Pissick still sat in P6. It looks like he's got just Jose closing in on him a little bit here as they come into the bus stop chicane. Keep an eye on the split times as they come over the line to complete lap 7. Let's see if just Jose is still closing that gap to him here as Chris comes over the line to complete that lap. Let's see what the split times are. 2:33 there from Chris. In fact, identical, both on 2 minute 33.6. So Chris, for the time being, looking very, very good here for this P6. Just Jose, looks like his charge is starting to peter out a little bit. Evan, just ahead of these guys, is pulling away from them, currently running in the 2 minute 31s. So Evan looking very, very good for 5th place. He's 8 seconds down the road from D-Croc, so it looks like he's probably too far back to catch up to him at this stage in the race. Boostin is actually, last time around, Boostin was 6 seconds faster than Drummer. Drummer must have made a mistake last time around. He must have made a big mistake because he's dropped way back down. Currently running in 10th place. He's dropped 6 seconds to Boostin, who's currently just a couple of seconds behind him on the track coming down to Kemmel Straight. Beartooth and Timanowski pulled out a massive gap to Drummer on that previous lap there. So not quite sure what's going on with Drummer at the moment, but it's not going too well for him at this point in the race. Looks like Sebas has pulled out a couple of seconds here to D-Crocs, running 3rd and 4th at the moment in this race. Feel pretty strung out at the moment. These guys, nobody really battling at this stage in the race. It's kind of petering out. Ayrton Stefano has led most of this race from the front, and he is coming into the bus stop chicane now. I believe he's about to start his final lap, so we've got a lap and a bit left to go here for the sprint race here. And it's been an almost faultless performance here from Ayrton Stefano. Just noticing that his previous lap was a little bit down on what we've seen so far in this race from him, so maybe a small mistake, but it looks like he has got it sorted out on this lap. He's doing the 2 minute 30s, which is a second quicker than anybody else out on the track at the moment. Truly phenomenal drive here from Ayrton Stefano. He's got something in these conditions that nobody else out here has got. He's a bit like Lewis Hamilton, or indeed Ayrton Senna, who obviously he's named after. His father Sebas is currently sat P3. Looks like he's a second ahead of D-Crocs, so D-Crocs might fancy his chances of getting a podium if he can get back onto the back of Sebas, but Sebas was closing in on him for a while, was actually giving him a lot of pressure before eventually finding a way past. D-Crocs is going to need to find another gear if he wants to finish on the podium here in this sprint race. Looking back in the battle for 6th and 7th, Chris Pissick currently sat P6. He's got just Jose. Looks like Chris actually responded last time around, went a second quicker than just Jose, so it looks like, barring any major catastrophes on this last lap, he should have this 6th spot in the bag. Beartooth sat a couple of seconds down the road from Timanowski. You can see they're going a little bit wide there on the exit of El Rouge. But managing to keep it going in the right direction at the moment. Drummer, unfortunately, down in 10th place, has had a difficult second phase of this race. Was up there at the beginning, but unfortunately it's gone a little bit wrong for him. Ugbar, the Flying Dutchman, struggling tonight here in these conditions here at Spa. And Traven late standing. Good to have him out on track tonight. Very sporting of him to take part here in this one. Obviously, he was a reserve and came in at the last second, so you've got to give him credit for giving it a go tonight. Traven currently running 13th in this one. As we jump on board with our race leader here, Ayrton Stefano is just coming up towards Blanchimont now, and he is going to take the plaudits here in this sprint race. It's been a phenomenal drive from him tonight. Has had something in these wet conditions that is just astounding. Nobody has been able to match this man tonight as he comes into the bus stop chicane for the final time and exits the last corner now to take the win in the sprint race for round 2 of Motive Racing's GT3 Super League Elite Tier here at Spa. Great job from Ayrton Stefano. Congratulations, well deserved. Seuss comes over in second position. Seba Stefano comes round to take the final podium spot ahead of D Crocs. Those two had an excellent battle, but Sebas takes it ahead of D Crocs. Evan in the end is going to come round in 5th position. Very creditable drive from Evan. Started. Oh no! Evan spins it coming out of the bus stop chicane. Is Chris Pezza going to get him here? This is going to be a sprint to the line. It looks like Chris is on the outside. Is he going to get him though? As they come up towards the line, looks like Evan's just about going to hold on. Yes, he does. Evan 5th. Chris Pezza in 6th. Just Jose is going to come round in 7th place. Timanowski in 8th. Beartooth comes round in 9th position ahead of Drummer, who's going to complete the top 10 after a difficult end to the race. Boostin coming round last corner now. He is going to bring it home in 11th spot here tonight. Ugbar, the Flying Dutchman, is going to come round in 12th. Here he comes, just exiting the last corner now. And Traven, late standing for this race, is going to complete the field in 13th spot. Just coming through Blanchimont now up towards the last part of the lap. But ladies and gentlemen, that was the GT3 Super League Elite Tier sprint race here. Ayrton Stefano bringing home the victory. Great job here from him. Runner-up in last season's championship. Has made a good start to the season so far. And obviously with the absence of Thorsten Borchardt, it does mean that this is an opportunity for him to definitely gain some points on what I'm sure is going to be his rival for top spots in this season. So Ayrton Stefano is your winner. Seuss 2nd, Seba Stefano 3rd. Stay tuned, guys, for the feature race. We're going to have an additional qualifying session for the feature race. The top 5 from the sprint cannot qualify for that one. So stay tuned for that. We'll be underway in a few moments' time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a moment.
your name. Or better yet, stay there, just do that. I wanna know your name. You just kill me, could you at least do that? I wanna know your name. Or better yet, stay there, just do that. Hey, yeah. You just kill me, could you at least do that? I wanna know your name. Or better yet, stay there, just do that. Hey, yeah.
Always been a black sheep, living in a daydream, in too deep, in too deep. I'ma give you everything, I'ma give you everything, forever everything. You want me, go no sleep, gonna keep it all G, on the same team, same damn team. Tell my body 6 feet, I'ma give you everything, forever everything. I'm that Al Capone Cadillac, drive like a maniac, killer like Zodiac. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shop to your cardiac, till the end, got your back, even when you're gonna crash. I'm still gonna ride with you, ride with you, ride with you. You know I'd die for you, die for you, die for you. Put it all on the line for you, just to keep it bulletproof. Stay with me tonight, I'll be your alibi. I'll be your alibi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel for our feature race qualifying session here for the GT3 Super League Elite Tier tonight at Spa-Francorchamps. We've got the top 5 from the sprint race unable to qualify for this one, which is going to allow the guys who finished in the mid-pack or even towards the back of the pack, if they were somewhat out of position. It gives all those guys a chance to get themselves in the mix for this feature race, get themselves up at the sharp end of the order. And currently we're seeing, oh goodness me, let's turn that off. Sorry. So yeah, we want to. So obviously we've got Chris Pizzak at the top of the leaderboard, making the most of this interesting rule that we've got here, which just sort of keeps it more interesting. It makes the faster guys from the sprint race with a bit more of a challenge, and it's going to stretch them and basically get the best out of them. We hope, as we see. Oh, Chris Pizzak spun it coming through the bus stop chicane. He's had a moment there. He's going to lost lots and lots of time. I think possibly he might have had his next lap invalidated. He will be very, very lucky if his next lap is valid. He looks like he's taking a moment to steady himself, and possibly he is going to have a valid lap here for his next one. But he will not have. That will not have helped him one bit. He's going to get one more chance here. He didn't get over in time to do 2 more laps. Currently, P1. Oh no! Chris has spun it. Coming through La Source, that's going to be that for him. Looks like he's pitted. He's currently sat on provisional pole, though. He's going to be hoping that just Jose, Ugbar, Beartooth, or Boostin, he's going to be hoping that none of those guys are able to capitalise on this. The other guys in the top 5 were Seuss, Decrox, Sebus, and Ayrton, as well as Evan. So those guys obviously unable to set a qualifying lap here in the feature race. Looks like DJ Phil also sat in the pits, so he doesn't fancy his chances of putting himself up on pole position here for this feature race either. But we're currently riding with just Jose, who it looks like he's doing a little bit of warming up here on those tyres as he prepares for a tilt at a possible pole position on the next run. We've got Ugbar, the Flying Dutchman. Oh no, Ugbar's lost the car, and that's his session over with. Beartooth here, but in the meantime is currently sat P5 in this one. He's sat 2.6 seconds off for the provisional pole time here in this session. He probably is going to get around just about in time to do another lap after this one, but I'm sure he's going to be absolutely gunning for it here, coming out of turn 16 now towards the final part of this lap. You can see here he's absolutely on the limits. He's trying to stretch the car, trying to get it to absolutely do its maximum here at the end of this feature race qualifying session. And right on the white line as he comes through Blanchimont there, you can see clicking up a little bit of grass on the inside as he came through, trying to take the shortest possible radius and into the bus stop chicane. What is this going to be for Beartooth? You can see there, riding the curve on the inside, trying to take the shortest possible run, and he's run a bit wide there on the exit of the bus stop. Is this going to be an invalid lap time here for Beartooth as he comes up towards the line now? And it's not, and it's second place there for Beartooth Disease. Fantastic stuff there. Looks like the lap was still valid as he came over the line. He's currently sat provisionally on the front row of the grid. Can he go 4/10 quicker at the end of this session and put himself up on pole position? It's definitely a possibility for Beartooth here as we are into the final. In fact, we are sessions over now, so the checker flag's being waved. All the guys who are out on laps at the moment can finish their laps, but other than that, it's going to be session all over and done and dusted as we see Boostin coming down towards turn 12 here. This is Pouon. It looks like he's got a little bit wide there, and that's definitely going to have invalidated his lap time there. Boostin's chances of pole are over for this session. Looks like Timonovski's still out there on the lap time. Traven is just coming through Stavolo now. Let's see what he can do. Traven had a bit of a mare in the sprint race, hadn't really prepared for the wet conditions, was a late stand in reserve for tonight. So honestly, hats off to him for giving it a go and trying his best here in the circumstances of very, very much a last-minute decision to race here today as he comes through Blanchimont. Let's see what he can do here. Looks like he almost got a little bit twitchy there as he came through, but he's managed to hold on to it in towards the bus stop chicane. Let's see which Traven can improve. Currently 8th in this session so far, as he now exits the final corner and onto the pit straight. Currently sat P8, 12 seconds off of the pole time. Let's see what Traven can do here. He goes considerably faster, up into P6 here. Nice time there from Traven. What's just Jose going to do here? He goes a little bit wide there, coming out of turn 16, but it looks like he's kept it on the track and hopefully it doesn't get an invalid lap time to boot. Timonovsky also out there just behind him on the track. So just Jose and Timonovsky, the only two guys in with a chance of taking pole. Looks like just Jose's messed up the Longchamp. He's got onto the grass on the exit on the outside of the corner, and I know only too well that really does mess you up. Just Jose still going though into the bus stop. Let's see if he can put himself up on pole ahead of Chris Pissick and Beartooth. Here he comes, just Jose. Currently it's at P3, 9/10 of a second off of the pole time, and he stays in P3. Timonovsky is coming up to the line now, currently in 8th place. Can he improve here on his final run in the 488? Here he comes, flashes his lights as he crosses the line, and it's pole position there for Timonovsky. Blows them away there, and the final knockings of the session. Takes pole by 4/10 of a second there ahead of Chris Pissick. He really pulled it out of the bag when it mattered. Timonovsky is going to start at the front. Chris Pissick will line up alongside him with Beartooth Disease and just Jose 3rd and 4th. Then we've got Ugbar and Drummer, Traven, Boostin, Evan and DJ Phil completing the top 10. Ayrton, Stefano, Severs, Seuss and D-Crocs will start at the back. So that is the order for the feature race here, guys. Stay tuned, we'll be back on in a minute's time for the start. Should be a very, very interesting race here. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to start the race here for the feature race for the GT3 Super League Elite tier here at Motive Racing. Spa-Francorchamps is the venue, and we're about to go lights out. Timonovsky there doing an excellent lap at the end of the session, putting it on pole. Chris Pissick lining up alongside him. We are about to go racing here in the Ardennes countryside, and we are underway. It looks like an excellent start there from just Jose from the second row. Immediately gets a good run. He's already passed past Beartooth as he coming to the source. It looks like just Jose's got a little bit too late on the brakes and pushes Chris Pissick out wide there. Timonovsky inherits the lead. Looks like we've got Evan here coming through up into 5th place already. Ugbar in 6th. Looks like Drummer has been pushed out a little bit there in 7th place. But he's managed to keep it in there. Traven is up into 8th. Looks like Ayrton Stefano's picked up a couple of guys. And Boostin's down to 14th. Terrible start for Boostin here in the opening couple of corners. But we see there somebody going a little bit wide there out of El Rouge. Looks like that's Evan there as he gets a little bit sideways, and it looks like he's got Chris just ahead of him here. Drummer also in the slipstream. Drummer just ahead of the Flying Dutchman here as they come up towards the Coombe. Looks like Evans looking to the inside here of Chris Pissick. Can he make the move coming into the Coombe? He thinks better of that one. He has to back out of it. Looks like Drummer has spun round. Drummer's lost the car. Oh no, and he takes a Ferrari with him as well. It looks like the Ferrari just about managed to squeeze through. Seuss there somehow managed to hold onto it and managed to get through that. D-Crocs, they're getting pushed out a little bit by Seuss. D-Crocs has pushed Seuss out onto the, D-Crocs getting pushed out there by Seuss onto the outside of the grass as it came through. It looks like Ayrton Stefano's got up into 9th place. Boostin has managed to get back up into 10th after that horrible start. We saw him coming through El Rouge there. Looks like DJ Phil's in 11th. We've got Drummer down to 12th there. Very unfortunate. Made a good start there. Did Drummer. We can see there just Jose and Seba Stefano still at the back of the field. It has not been a good opening lap so far for Seba Stefano, but back to the leader. Timonovsky's got a 1.8 second lead here. Our pole sitter, the man who took pole off of Chris Pissick in the dying knockings of the session, has currently got a pretty nice cushion out the front. He's pulled out a bit of a gap to Beartooth. Beartooth is coming under pressure now from Chris Pissick in a battle for a second moment. Looks like Beartooth had a little bit of a wide run there coming through turn 16, and that's definitely going to allow Chris to try and slot into the slipstream and see if he can make a move here. He's going to look to the inside, but it looks like he is going to pull alongside here. Chris Pissock is up the inside of Beartooth Disease, and can he hold it coming through Blanchemont? It looks like he does. Chris Pissock is up into second place. Can Beartooth try and come back at him coming towards the bus stop? You can see Chris going a little bit defensive here, coming into the bus stop chicane. It looks like Beartooth is a little bit too far back to go for a move there. And Chris Pissock is up into second position. Evan making some good progress here. It looks like he's all over the back of Beartooth here, coming down the pit straight. Possibly a bit too far back to go for a move into the source, but you can see he's definitely looking like he wants to make some gains here in the early stages of this race. The Irishman here has made a fantastic start to this feature race. Ugbar sat in 5th place. Looks like Traven is trying to fend off the challenge here of Ayrton Stefano with Seuss right behind those guys as well. Obviously Ayrton and Seuss were unable to qualify for the feature race. They started at the back. They're making good progress so far, and Traven is going to have his moves forward. So we see Traven go very, very wide there coming through El Rouge, and now Ayrton Stefano and Seuss are going to surely have him here. Yes, they do. And Ayrton gets passed on the inside by Seuss while they both try to navigate Traven there. So Ayrton won't be happy about that at all. He's down to, well, he stays 7th place because obviously he overtook Traven whilst being passed by Seuss as they come onto the brakes into Lacombe, and Seuss making some good gains in this race so far. Driving the number 61 Ferrari Ivry. Looks like he can go defensive here, coming down the hill towards turn 10, and Ayrton, with nowhere to go for the time being, has to slot in behind and hold position for the time being. Looks like Beartooth has been passed by Evan, so Evan making up another position here on lap 2 of this race. Evan with an absolutely lightning start to this one. Really, really good driving here from Evan so far in this one. And next up for him will be Chris Pissock, who is a couple of seconds up the road. Obviously Chris is Evan's teammate, so it would be interesting to see how this one gets played out, if there are any team orders being issued by the team principal. Obviously the team principal not present for this race, Thorsten Borchardt, so it's going to be interesting to see who takes the responsibility for any decisions being made. Obviously Thorsten would be out on the track if he was here, so I can't say that they would be made from the pit wall, but I'm sure Thorsten has a say in the decisions being made by the Borchardt Sim Racing team. But regardless, anyway, we go back to the battle here for 9th place. Looks like Sebas has got up ahead here of just Jose. Sebas Stefano finally making some progress here in this race. Had a difficult start on the opening lap, but he's up to 9th place so far. Next up for him will be Traven, who's obviously, I will just say again, Traven is a stand-in for this race. He wasn't scheduled to be racing tonight, but was a reserve and got called up at the last minute. The sprint race in the wet didn't really go to plan. He goes a little bit deep into the bus stop chicane, and now he's going to have Sebas right up him as they exit the last corner. And looks like Traven is going to pull over here. It looks like he's moving over to the side and allows Sebas to take the position. Also, just Jose comes through as well. Those guys up into 8th and 9th. Traven now down to the 10th position here in this race. But just Jose all over the back here of Sebas Stefano in the battle for 8th place here. Still Evan just ahead of Beartooth. Looks like Ugbar is coming under pressure from Ayrton Stefano. Is Ayrton going to be close enough to go for a move here? Coming out down the Kemmel Straight towards Lacombe. Looks like he might be a bit too far back to go for a move for the time being here. But Ayrton Stefano has had a decent start to this feature race, has made some good progress so far, and I'm sure he'll be looking to clear the Flying Dutchman as soon as he can. Looks to the inside here of turn 10. The Flying Dutchman leaves the door open, but Ayrton a little bit too far back to go for a move. Probably would have ended in tears had he decided to chance a move up the inside there. But still, Ugbar trying and succeeding in defending the position here. He's not an easy man to pass, and Ugbar is not going to move aside for anybody out on track tonight. Looks like, oh no, what's happened to Evans up into P2, but Chris Pissock has dropped well down the order. Missed that on the stream, but Chris has lost lots and lots of positions. He's now down to 6th place here. He's got Seuss for company and Sebas as well, but Chris Pissock was running in P2, our pole. No, he wasn't on pole, but he was our man on the front row. He had pole position for most of the qualifying session for this feature race, but ultimately lost it to Timanowski at the last second. Started on the front row, but he's lost second position here, and is now well down the order, down in the mid pack. Seuss and Sebas looking very, very feisty in the mirrors behind him here. And these guys running a couple of seconds. And what's happened to Evan? Evan's dropped back now from second position. We saw him just a few moments ago. Was coming under pressure from Beartooth, and now he's coming under pressure from Chris Pisser, Seuss, and Sebas here. As he comes up towards the bus stop chain, we've got a 4-car train battling over 5th place here. Evan comes into the bus stop. He's fending off Chris just about. Chris looked to the inside. These guys are teammates, so I don't know if there's going to be team orders. We see Chris coming in, pulling off into the pits here, making his mandatory pit stop here at the end of lap 3. So first to brink here, Chris Pisser making his move early, hoping that the undercut might pay off here tonight. Evan is up into 5th. Seuss, Sebas still right behind him here. And just Jose as well, so this is developing into still what is a 4-car battle, but it looks like Evan has shaken off the challenge of these guys for the time being. Seuss still managing to fend off Sebas as they come up through Eau Rouge now. Very, very close out indeed out on the track tonight as we see. It looks like Sebas has got a nice run here coming through Radion as he pulls it out to the outside. It looks like Sebas has gone onto the grass there and he's managed to, well, there's a bit of lag going on there. Sebas flashes his lights, but he can have no complaints because that was definitely Sebas's internet deciding to take a bit of a toilet break there. He goes a little bit wide there coming through Lacombe, and that has allowed Seuss up into 5th. Just Jose picks up 6th position, and Sebas losing a lot of time there. That was definitely lag on Sebas's end, losing him those positions. He probably feels like he's been hard done by. Maybe on his screen there was contact, but it's just a shame there for Sebas Stefano. Loses a couple of positions, down to 7th place here in this race, 5 seconds off of these guys. Evan putting some space between himself, Seuss, and just Jose for the time being. He obviously made the mistake, was running in P2 just a couple of laps ago, lost a lot of time here. He's trying to make up for it now though. That was 10 seconds off of Beartooth and Ubar, so that just goes to show how much time he lost with that little mistake. Still Ayrton leading the race, but he's managed to get up into the lead of the race here. Ayrton Stefano has made an excellent start to this feature race. Started at the back obviously due to the rules that the top 5 from the sprint race cannot qualify, but it's been an electric getaway for this man here, and currently got a 1.3 second lead out the front over Beartooth to show for it. Really impressive driving here from Ayrton so far. Just Jose still sat just behind Seuss, but unable to find a way past him. Let's ride on board as he comes into the pits here. So just Jose brings it into pit lane. It looks like Evan's also doing the same here at the end of lap 4. But that's going to release Seuss into some clear air here. He's got Sebas Stefano 4 seconds down the road from him. Sebas will be looking to make some gains. I'm sure Sebas feels like he was hard done by and probably thinks there was some contact there, but on the stream there was absolutely none of it. It was just a simple case of lag there from Sebas going straight on, coming over Lacombe. But he will probably be extra motivated because of that, what I assume will be his premonition after that incident. We see D-Crocs here, he's coming out of he's just coming down the run between La Source and Eau Rouge. It looks like he's just about going to have Evan here coming up towards Eau Rouge, and Evan in the end concedes the position. D-Crocs up into P7, he's right on the back here of just Jose. These guys battling over 6th, 7th and 8th, but I imagine it will be a net, I think, possibly a net 3rd once all the pit stops are done. Have to keep an eye on this. Obviously I think just Jose, D-Crocs and Evan have all been into the pits, but everyone from Sebas upwards does still need to come in for their mandatory. So Ayrton, Ugbar, Beartooth, Seuss and Sebas need to come in. Oh, as we see just Jose getting loose there and losing a couple of positions. D-Crocs and Evan are up into 6th and 7th. Just Jose there having a bit of a moment. Looks like he's got it going and pointing in the right direction once again, but he will not have needed that at all. Losing a couple of positions, losing a bit of time here in this race. Still though, D-Crocs and Evan, both having pitted, are on the superior strategy here in this race. 35 seconds off of the race lead, currently being occupied by Ayrton Stefano. Stefano currently showing everybody how it's done at the moment in this race. Has made some fantastic progress in the early laps. Obviously started at the back due to the rules of the top 5 from the sprint race cannot qualify, and he's definitely made up for his grid position. Currently with a 7-second lead. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he's going to hold on to the lead once he comes into the pits with D. Crocs and Evan about 35 seconds off of him. I think Ayrton should hold on, barring any major catastrophes in the pit box. Looks like Sebas is in for his stop. Let's see what sort of pit stop he gets as he brings it into the box, skidding along as he gets the car stopped. That looked like an absolutely fantastic pit stop there from Stefano. Stopped and away within about a second. There, that is exactly what he would have wanted there from his guys. He'll, I'm sure, be buying his pit crew around at the end of this race. He should be very, very grateful for that. Ugbar, the Flying Dutchman, currently running 9 seconds off of the lead at the moment. Driving in the Merc AMG. Seuss is coming under pressure now from Beartooth. These guys have been battling out. Looks like Seuss has actually made the move on Beartooth. Be interesting to see if Beartooth can fight back here in this battle for what is currently 3rd place. It won't be once these guys do come in for their mandatory pit stop. Just a quick update to those of you watching on the stream. The top 4 in this race are still yet to come in for their mandatory pit stop. Everyone from 5th downwards has been in already. So that is the current state of play here in this one. So just to reiterate, D. Crocs, Evan, Just Jose, Sebas, Boostin, Chris Pissock, Drummer and DJ Phil have all been in for their stops. Ayrton Stefano, Ugbar, Seuss and Beartooth still yet to come in, and Beartooth keeping with the back of Seuss. Despite Seuss closing in and catching him up, he's definitely keeping him honest here, and these guys are both closing in. Oh no, Beartooth's lost the car! He's half spin there, resets there, so he will get a penalty for resetting the car. He loses lots and lots of time there to Seuss. As I was saying there, those two closing in on Ugbar. It's now just Seuss in that particular position. He is definitely closing in onto the Flying Dutchman as we speak, though. I'd say just under a second between those guys at the moment, or maybe just over a second actually. But Seuss definitely looking to gain a position here, probably in the next lap or so. Ayrton Stefano's onto lap 7. We're over half distance here in the feature race for Motive Racing's GT3 Super League Elites here at Spa-Francorchamps. This is round 2 of the season. Ayrton Stefano still doing what he has to do. Obviously, Thorsten Borchardt, his probable main rival in the championship, is having a bit of a unfortunate afternoon. Unfortunately, unable to join us for this race. So Ayrton will, I'm sure, be wanting to make the most of this and take this opportunity with both hands. It's not often that Thorsten finds himself otherwise engaged and cannot make a race. And Ayrton Stefano taking this opportunity and delivering in tremendous style so far in this race. In the sprint race, he took a dominant victory in the wet conditions, took pole in the fastest lap, along with leading every lap. It was a grand slam for Ayrton in the sprint race, and he is keeping up the phenomenal work here in the feature. It won't be a grand slam due to the fact that he started out the back, but also I don't think he got pole position either. That was that accolade went to Timonovsky, who has unfortunately retired from the race. We're just seeing Timonovsky there, the pole sitter for this feature race, has retired. That is a desperate shame there for him. Didn't actually see what happened there, but he is out of the race. That is a real shame there. Ayrton Stefano with the lead, with control of this one. 23 seconds back to the Flying Dutchman, who looks like he's put a bit of a gap between himself and Seuss at the moment. Not sure if Seuss had a moment on the last lap or whether the Flying Dutchman has just picked up the pace here. D. Crocs currently running with Evan at the moment. Evan looking very, very strong behind him at the moment. Coming through campus. Can Evan get onto the back of him? Looks like he's gone a little bit wide there. D. Crocs will notice that, but he's still has got to be feeling the pressure at this point. And it looks like Evan got a fantastic run there out of Stavolo, and now through turn 16, these guys flat out, staying off the curbs on the right hand side, doing it very, very nicely indeed. Race leader is into the pits. We're expecting him to emerge in the lead. Back to this battle here for fourth and fifth. D-Crocs trying to fend off Evan if he can as they come through Blanchimont now up towards the bus stop chicane. Can Evan go for a move up the inside? He's going to have a little look, try and distract D-Crocs in the mirrors. D-Crocs not having any of it for the time being, and very, very confidently keeping on to that position. Ayrton has emerged, still with the race lead. Ugbar and Seuss into the pits. Looks like Ugbar's car is rolling backwards there as the team gave him the go-ahead to get going again. Seuss just coming out of the pits just behind the Flying Dutchman here. That's released just Jose into fourth position. Evan now sat in a podium spot from the back of the field, started at the back in this feature race, obviously finished in the top 5 in the sprint, and this is a very, very good performance there from him. I'm sure he's going to be tasting second place here. He's got D-Crocs just in front of him, these guys battling over second and third. Everyone's been in for their mandatory pit stops now, so this is the representative order of this race. So we see Evan making a move to the outside here, coming up towards the Coombe, but D-Crocs is going to run him out of road just a little bit. Evan really, really pushing him now, trying to find a way through with D-Crocs, really, really doing a great job of parking his car in all the right places, and Evan getting a little bit wide there onto the grass, just about keeping onto it. But D-Crocs here must be feeling the pressure. He can taste this second position, but Evan at the moment trying to take it away from him if he can. Evan from the back of the grid, cannot be overemphasised what a great job he's done here. Currently running in a podium spot. Just Jose is a couple of seconds down the road from these guys in fourth. Looks like the Flying Dutchman is facing some heavy pressure here from Sebastefano as they come through Pouan. Looks like Ugbar's got a little bit wide there, but Sebas also likewise unable to capitalise on the position. Ugbar's lost the car on the exit of Pouan. We've got a yellow flag here through the middle sector, exit of Pouan. Looks like he's crossing over the track, and that was so close to tears there. Seuss and Chris Bisley managing to avoid him. Beartooth is also going to pick up the position there. Oh no, that was so close to tears there for Ugbar, managing to keep it out of the way. But that is not what the doctor would have ordered for Ugbar. Unfortunately, losing lots and lots of time here. He was right with Sebastefano. Sorry, with Seuss just a few moments ago. He's now 11 seconds behind him here. Back to the battle here. Looks like Evans. What's happened to Evan? He's dropped way back off the back of D-Crocs. Missed what happened to Evan there, but he's had a bit of a calamity. Sebastefano looks to the inside here of the bus stop chicane, but he's a little bit too far back to go for a move at the moment. Evan goes a bit deep coming into the bus stop though, and Sebas is going to surely try and get a nice run here, coming out onto the pit straight to start lap 9. Evan holding on to fourth, still with a chance of taking a podium, but just Jose now in a fantastic position. He's currently running in the top 3 here. Just Jose with a phenomenal race tonight here in the feature race. Finds himself with an opportunity of getting a podium, but I'm sure that Evan and Sebas are going to fight this with everything they've got here. As we see Evan and Sebas both going very wide there coming out of El Rouge. As he come up through Radion now, it looks like Evan's got a wonderful run here coming down the Campbell Straight. Looks to the outside, just Jose goes defensive here on the left hand side. Looks like Evan has already got around him coming through Lacombe, and hard on the brakes here. Evan is up into a podium position once again. Just Jose trying to hold on to it if he can, but Sebas is now looking very feisty in the background here. As we see the cone go absolutely flying, and Sebas has almost lost it, just about clings onto it, keeps it out of the barrier. That was a very close call there for Sebastefano. Almost putting it in the wall, just about managing to cling onto it. And Evan finds himself back in P3 after making a mistake, dropping off the back of D-Crocs. We saw he was running right with D-Crocs in the battle for second place, but unfortunately made an error. Chris Pissett currently sat in 6th position at the moment. Just 0.2 of a second separates him and Seuss at the moment. As we see here, Evan holding on to their pace. Looks like Sebas making a little feint to the inside there of just Jose trying to trying to distract him if he can, trying to put the pressure on, and Just Jose goes very wide coming out of turn 16. Sebas is surely going to fancy his chances here, coming up towards Blanchimont. It's not really an overtaking spot though. As we see there, Sebas having to dab the brakes on a bit, trying to avoid Just Jose, who looks like he's taken a much slower line through that corner. Sebas not opting to go for a feint there up the inside coming into the bus stop. Looks like Just Jose managing to hold on to fourth position for the time being, and the longer that Sebas spends behind behind Just Jose, the more time that Evan is going to be able to eke out here in his quest for a podium spot here in this feature race. Chris Bissett running in 6th all by himself at the moment. He's got a couple of seconds back to Seuss running in 7th. Got Beartooth in 8th at the moment. Ugbar, after running high up earlier in the race, is struggling at the moment. Obviously we saw his spin coming out of Pouan. Lost a lot of time in that. He's lost more time since then. Now down in 9th place, 50 seconds off of the race leader. Boostin's in for his pit stop. Got Drummer still going around in 11th spot, driving the number 31 yellow Ferrari 488. DJ Phil still going in 12th place. Great to have DJ Phil out on track with us tonight. Thank you for being with us tonight, Phil. Great to have you as always, driving in the Merc AMG. Just coming up through Blanchimont now. Let's go back with our race leader, Ayrton Stefano, see what he's doing. He's still putting in fastest laps currently. Last time around was a 2:22. Just managing the pace, I'm sure. At this point in the race, he's got 2 laps left to go here in this one, and he's going to take what's surely going to be a magnificent double tonight at Spa. D-Croc still sat P2 in this session at the moment. 17 seconds off of the race leader. Thought D-Crocs was going to face some competition from Evan in the battle for P2, but he's dropped off a little bit at the moment. Evans managed to pull out a bit of a gap here between himself and Sebas. Sebas has got round Just Jose. So Sebas up into 4th. He's still got a bit of time to make up on Evan if he can. He's got 2 laps to get up into a podium spot. It'd be great to see Evan chasing the champagne here at Spa, if he can indeed hold on ahead of Sebas. Seuss sat in 11th place, 7th place, not 11th. At the moment, he's still got, it looks like he's got Beartooth closing in actually. Last time around, Beartooth was 3 seconds quicker than Seuss, and Beartooth going a little bit wide coming through on the exit of Blanchimont. A little bit too far back to go for a move into the bus stop. Seuss for the time being is still holding on to 7th position, but this is looking like a race between these two. Seuss going a little bit wide there on the exit of El Rouge, and now surely Beartooth with a chance here coming down the Kemmel Straight. Beartooth on the right hand side, looks like he's just about got it ahead. Is he going to have it under the brakes though? It looks like he does. Beartooth around the outside and up into 7th position. Seuss is surely going to try and fight back here though. He's still right behind him. These guys absolutely bumper to bumper here. It looks like Seuss might be a bit too far back to go for a move into turn 10. Beartooth with the 7th position. Last lap, he was 2 seconds faster than Seuss, so he's got the momentum at this point. See if he can pull out the gap, or will Seuss be able to fight back at him? These guys in a good point scoring position. They don't want to end up crashing into each other or ruining their race at this point. Looks like Chris is pulling up onto the back here of Just Jose in the battle for 5th place. Just Jose was running in a podium spot a couple of laps ago. Unfortunately, that has gone up in smoke here, and Chris is now going to be tasting 5th place here. Chris obviously started on the front row for this feature race. Hasn't really gone to plan since then, unfortunately. He is now within half a second here of Just Jose as they come out of turn 16. Race leader Ayrton Stefano is onto the final lap of the race. Looks like Evan has got about a 2-second gap to Sebas coming onto the final lap, so Evan just has to nurse his car around for one more lap here. Let's keep an eye on the split times and see if Sebas is closing that gap here as it comes through and out of the bus stop chicane. Just over a second separates these guys as they come over the line. Evan with a 2-minute 22.6. Sebas with a 2-minute 20. So Sebas lapping 2 seconds faster than Evan last time around. This is well and truly a battle for the podium spots here. As we see, just Jose still trying to fend off Chris Pissick as well. Battles throughout the field here tonight. Chris Pissick looks like he's got a bit of a gap here to Beartooth. Beartooth managing to pull out a bit to Seuss as well, so those guys are a little bit spread out at this point, but the battles are between 3rd and 4th for Evan and Sebas, and just Jose and Chris Pissick for 5th and 6th. So we see one pair going through Macomb here, and another pair here in the background. It looks like Chris Pissick's looking to the inside here at the Macomb. Can he make the move at the end of the Camel Straight? It looks like he is up the inside. Can he make it stick? It looks like he has done. Chris Pissick is up into 5th place here, and he will be somewhat happy and relieved there to get that position and get himself up ahead. Chris Pissick making the best of a bad situation after starting on the front row in this feature race. He's up into 5th. Evans still trying to fend off the challenge here from Sebas Stefano if he can. Sebas is really pushing as much as he can. Evan going a little bit wide there, coming through Pouon. Surely Sebas is going to fancy it. He's got to do it in this last half a lap. He hasn't got any more laps to do it here. This is it. This is it for all the marbles. Sebas is going to make it happen now. See where the race leader is. Ayrton Stefano is coming out of the bus stop chicane. It's going to be 2 wins out of 2 here at Spa-Francorchamps for round 2. He took the sprint in the wet. He takes the feature in the dry here. Great job here from Ayrton Stefano. D-Crocs looks like he's going to come around in 2nd, but Evan and Sebas are going to still fight this one out here for the final podium spot. Sebas trying everything he can to get this position. D-Crocs is coming through the bus stop now. Looks like Sebas is going to have to do it now if he wants the 3rd place. He goes for the dive. He commits down the inside. Evan has to leave a little bit of space. And Evan's lost the car. Evan spins out. And that has gifted the 3rd position to Sebas Stefano. That is gutting there for Evan. He's not going to like that one bit. But Sebas comes over in 3rd. Evan 4th. Good battle from those guys at the end. Unfortunately, heartbreak for Evan there. Loses the podium at the last corner of the last lap. Chris Pissick over in 5th. Just Jose in 6th, but Beartooth comes over in 7th position here. We've got Seuss over in 8th. Ugbar with a race to forget tonight in 9th. We've got Drummer who's going to come around to complete the top 10. Then Boost in 11th place. DJ Phil is going to complete the classification in 12th. And what a battle there between Sebas and Evan. Ultimately Sebas coming out on top in that one. Ayrton Stefano, what can you say about him? Dominant tonight for our GT3 Super League Elite Tier here at Motive Racing. Congratulations to Ayrton on the victory. D-Crocs for finishing 2nd place, and Sebas on a fantastic podium finish. Commiserations to Evan. He really did give it everything all the way up to that last corner. Great racing tonight, guys. Thank you everybody for joining us live on the Motive Racing channel. If you like what you see, be sure to join us on our Discord server. Go to our YouTube homepage, click the icon in the top right hand corner, which will take you over to our Discord. I've been Andy. This has been the GT3 guys, out on track tonight. Some of the best GT3 drivers on the PlayStation 4 platform on Project Cars 2. We'll see you guys in an hour's time for the LMP2s. I'll be on the mic for that one as well, coming up very shortly. But from me, it's goodbye, because I've got to go and eat a Chinese, which has just come through the door about 15 minutes ago. So have a great evening, guys. We'll see you hopefully in an hour's time for the LMP2s. See you in a bit, and peace.